Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Apex Originals Racing, and it is myself, Zabe, and I'll be bringing you all the action for race 1 here at Laguna Seca. It is the final 2 races of the season here at Apex Originals, and we are in for a fight, and for a fight that you wouldn't want to miss, and on a weekend like this, where the points for both the races are going to be double the points for race 1. So normally P1 will get 25 points, P2 18, and P3 15. And 12 points for P4, then 10 for P5, and so on till P10. But now that means that it'll be double the points in the first 2 races. And remember, there are points for qualifying as well, which is obviously 8 points for pole position, and then 7 for P2 and 6 for P3, and so on till P8 to 8th position. Those are not doubled, but still, remember this then. It is going to be qualifying for both the races. It's not a sprint race or race on the same tracks, it's on a different track. So let's have a look at the grid out here at the moment. Kane is on pole. That means they've already secured themselves 8 points in this, at least in the championship so far. But remember, we are in a fight between GT and Plenty, who two are going to be fighting for the Drivers' Championship. So just before we get started, let's have a look at the current grid here at Laguna Seca. Kane on pole position with Nito in P2, Numtined in P3. So nice to see these guys at the front when it's qualifying and then not the sprint race results. All right, then it is Smoke in P4. With GT in P6, followed by Monte Carlos in P7, Ryan Cooper starting in P8, RLD in P9, C. Jones in P10, Plenty down in P11, so that's going to be interesting. Remember, he is going to be fighting GT for the championship, who's up there inside the top 10. Plenty's just outside of it in P11. Lisandro is reserving today, and he's in P12, P13 for Wolf Club, and P14 for Page. So just getting into it as we wait on and get started for this race here at Laguna Seca. So just before we get started, let's have a look at for the championship of you guys. The moment Plenty is in P1, 313 points for them. In P2 is GT, who's got 282 points in second place in the title. These two are going to be massive fighters for the championship here in the last 2 races. So P3, 233 points is Ryan Cooper. Kane on pole position is 197, so his points would be plus 200 already since he secured himself a pole position. But then focus should be this race, ladies and gentlemen, and the championship that we have at the top. For the Constructors' title, it looks packed for Project GT at the moment, 486 for them. But remember, not far behind our Highland Farmers. With double the points, they could turn the tables around. They've got 413 points to themselves. 333, 37 for Team Pain. Then Apex Originals, 266, 233 for Ashton GP. Then Karaoke Racing with 181. Then the final 2, 149 for Elite Racing and Nedbok Racing with 91 points. Let's not waste any further time and get into this one, ladies and gentlemen. Race 1 here at Laguna Seca. Kane on pole, Nito in P2 with Numtined in P3, followed by Smoke in P4, GT in P6 with Plenty down in P11. How good is this one going to be? 5 lights are out and we go racing here at Laguna Seca, heading towards turn 1. Upholster's got a very brilliant start at the start of the race. Meanwhile, Smoke is in P2. He's got a decent start as well. GT already in P4. P3 is going to go round the outside, heading towards turn 1. Nito down the inside line, and Ryan Cooper's going to be right behind to get through as well. He's got the overtake done, currently holding down in P1, P4, and ahead of GT once more. GT for a moment looked like he's going to get positions. There's some collisions at the back of the black. There's going to be Plenty who's up into P11, hasn't been able to gain much positions. Meanwhile, Page and Wolf in P12 with Lisandro and Monte Carlos down in P13 and 14. That is not a good start for the 2 drivers, and Lisandro reserving here tonight. Would have liked to have a better start, but wasn't to be just about yet right now. Meanwhile, our championship leader is looking for a position, and position to make a move soon. Will he be able to do that? That is a question that will be answered very soon, as heading towards the uphill section, this very tricky corner down the inside, as there's going to be a chance for Numpty Ned to still defend, and he is defending a position. Meanwhile, he's going to try and get a position up into P8. Not just yet. He won't be able to do that, but plenty in P10 at the moment. He's going to be on the inside line. Numpty round the outside. Can't quite get through just about yet. Our championship leader is in P10, hasn't been able to make a move just yet. Meanwhile, GT is in P5 as well, but rather than moving forward, he looks like to be, he's not moving but coming back, but rather he's going to be moving forward indeed. Around the outside, heading towards turn 1. Ken Ryan defended, they nearly made contact. They're going to be side by side. Is it going to be Ryan on the exit of the corner better? Is it going to be GT? Rather, it was going to be Ryan, and GT's pushed a little bit wide from RLD, but he's just going to come back on track and get the job done, as Ryan now might just be in a bit of pressure from losing this 6th place as well. But we are on and about, as Kane's got the fastest lap about right now, but GT is put in those fast sectors. Can he defend this position? About have the inside line into this left-hander. Is he going to be late on the brakes, or he just would have to give up the position? He nearly does, but he does absolutely well to defend, and he will need to drive like a champion tonight to win this race. Meanwhile, at the back of the field, there's going to be moves coming up, as C. Jones is trying to defend from plenty, and he's really doing that all he can. Page in P11 with Wolf in P12 as well, so that is brilliant. And some racing in the back as well, and again Page is going to go for it on the inside line. He goes through, and the tricky corner that we were talking about, you get this one wrong, and it is very hard to recover. Again, unfortunately the liveries have not loaded up, but look at that then. C. Jones in P10 with Wolf in P11 at the moment. Plenty in P9 for Highland Farmers. He needs to do it. He needs to do it not only for his team, but his championship as well. Meanwhile, good thing for him is that GT just has been overtaken and is in P8 at the moment, with Numpty Ned in P7. So that is interesting to see. We're not gonna. We've got maybe some battles at the front of the field as well, but not in fact, as Kane still leads, and he leads it by a mile. That is brilliant from him so far. Ryan Cooper in P2 nearly goes into the gravel, but he's got the championship leaders to fight to focus on. Meanwhile, Nitu just about does enough to defend his position. No, he can't. He goes absolutely wide into the gravel, and RLD's going to be able to get through. And our RLD, along with Smoke as well, everybody overtaken. Meanwhile, Smoke's teammate Plenty's down there, so look at that, as RLD will have to defend once more. Nitu in P6 with Numpty Ned in P7. Meanwhile, GT almost a bit disconnected from these guys, as Plenty is already in P9, and now this is going to be brilliant. P9 and 8, remember, double the points in this race for these guys, so that is going to be brilliant, and that is gonna be interesting to see. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Nimty and RLD are going for it for 5th, 6th place. They are all in this so far. Within these 2-3 laps, the racing has been brilliant at the moment, but for how long is that going to be the case? That is a question of a billion dollar, as he goes super wide, does need to, and he's going to have to concede that place. And just with the help of that, GT's going to get closer to him, but will he get past him though? That's a question he will need to answer very quickly, because otherwise, other than that, heading towards turn 1, GT's got an opportunity to go down the inside and get past E2. Can he get past him? No, he can't, and now he'll have to do everything to defend from MRL Plenty, as GT in P8 at the moment, as Plenty goes absolutely wide, nearly goes out of the park for the moment. So P9 for Plenty at the moment. That's only 2 points for him into normal circumstances. That means he's got 4 points, and GT, who would get normally 4 points, is going to have 8 points at this point in this race. But remember, GT Plenty at the moment is leading the championship, and he is your championship leader. So 313 points for him would be 317 with these 4 points added to his time, and 8 points to GT would be 290. Still almost 27 points by Plenty would lead the driver's title. So look at this. Constructors is on as well. Remember, Project GT would be looking to finish ahead of everyone and get sealed the deal at the end of the 2 races. And look at that, P8 for GT, and at the moment Plenty is in P9. He's not able to get past him, or rather maybe he's just about not even trying to get past him, because he knows that any opportunity could just make or break the way for him. And it is a very big race, as GT does get past Nidu there, as he's going to overtake into P7. As Plenty's going to almost try and send it on the inside line as well. Nisu's going to go a little bit wide. That might allow Plenty to get back at him and get ahead around the outside. Or in fact, he's going to try and get to the inside line. He can't quite get it done. And brilliant racing. I mean, Laguna Seca, newly added tracks, and it has to be said, this is some brilliant racing between these guys out here at the moment. Sure, there is other battles as well, as Nitu again is going to get past GT. So GT and Plenty, both the drivers. Sure, I know they're fighting for the championship, so definitely they won't be trying to be heroes, as we just talk about being heroes, as almost goes GT from a hero to a zero. As before even we get to the point of hero to zero, he nearly gets to it, as he's dropped down to P12. And this is pressure, this is mistakes, and this is all happening here. Meanwhile, on the other end, there is no pressure for Plenty. Pressure, what pressure? Only 5 laps in now. Tables can turn around. And remember, do not point anybody out of it just yet. Plenty is in P8. 9 is for the Wolf, with P10 for Monte Carlo. The Sandro is in P11. P12 for GT at the moment. He needs to recover. He does need to recover. So we're 5 laps in. Medium tyre for GT. Same is the case for Plenty. A lot of drivers on a set of medium tyres. As we just say that, need to RLD, along with a couple of others, on a set of soft tyres, but the mediums for Kane as well, as he currently leads ahead of Ryan Cooper, who finds himself third in the Drivers' Championship coming into this race. But this time around, they will be getting double the points as well. Remember that. So that is going to be good. Nice points. I mean, they're out of the calculation, at least for now. But you never know. They could jump in if they do race. They would be getting 36 points at this point in time. At the moment, they had 233 points coming into this race. So double the points about now would see them on almost 269. But remember, the qualifying points as well. So those points might just getting closer to GT in the Drivers' Championship. Maybe at the end of the race we'll talk about that, but this is the end, ladies and gentlemen, as Smoke is in P3 at the moment, still being on a set of mediums, as we're going to get them be in P3. Will they be able to keep this position, or be in a bit of a pressure to lose it so far? So Ned in P5 at the moment, RLD in P6, Plenty is in P7 so far. That is going to be music to his ears at the moment, at least. He's going good, and finding GT down in P12. That is far down is GT. He's only 2 positions ahead of the last place in this race, who's Page in P14, with C. Jones in P13, with GT in P12. I mean, these are the races, these are the moves, and things that could turn the tables around. Still 1 more race remaining. Still, oh, look at that! And this is what we were talking about. The pressure could be on, and this is exactly what I was saying, that he will need to do a brilliant drive and recover up to the top. And guess what? He might not need to do that, as Plenty himself has came down for him though. He's made a huge mistake as well, almost in a similar area when GT made that mistake, because that left-hander going uphill is pretty tricky. You could lose the car pretty easy, because if that rear end steps out, it would be very difficult for you to control, and if you can't do that, will happen what has happened to both of our championship protagonists. And look at that. That is going to be interesting. So at the moment, Monty is into the pit along with E2 and Ryan as well, who's on a set of soft tyres, over 7 laps on those tyres. Going to get those tyres, going to maybe get a bit of fuel as well. But look at that, our championship fighters are currently at the moment 2 protagonists in P8 and 9, as Plenty still staying ahead of GT, though, still staying ahead and maintaining his positions for the moment. But for how long could he do that? That is going to be interesting as well, because you know that mistakes could come, as we were talking about pressure, and you know that especially on a track that has just came in, and on top of that you have the pressure of fighting other pressure of the championship. You want to get that championship, as nearly Planny goes into the gravel and almost loses it once again. He was rather stable than losing it, but still a tire in the gravel is never nice. And just split second it could turn around, in a split second it could go the other way around, and both of them being on the same set of medium tires and doing about 8 laps on them at the moment at the end of this lap, so that is going to be interesting. Meanwhile, our race leader, RLD's in the pits, Wolf in P6, Lissandro in P5, Nimtined in P4. He's lost out his P0, no, in fact no, he's not lost out his P3. Rather, it was Smokers in P2, was in P3, is now in P2, and Kane still leads. Look at that, what an absolute dominant lead he's having at the moment. We haven't been able to talk about him about just yet, because of focusing on the Drivers' Championship, but look at that, that is absolutely brilliant, you have to say, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. I think the final 2 races, remember, there is going to be qualifying for the final race as well, so no finishes of this race would go into the next one, since we're on a different track for the final race of the season as well, so that is now going to be interesting. We're nearly halfway distance of this one. Smoke in P2, as we then get Nemtined in P4, as Lissandro in P5, followed by Wolf in P6. At the moment, do we have a fight between these guys? That's interesting. Lissandro, Wolf, and Planny is in P6 already. GT finds himself in P8, but not enough to fight Planny at the moment. And remember, double the points are only going to help our championship leader. Obviously, it is going to help everyone else as well, but if you are at least ahead of the driver behind you and you're already leading the championship, you haven't got much to worry about unless they come sweeping right behind you and drive like a lion and make it very difficult for you to defend. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, rather for P5, the fight is on as Lissandro is in P5, fighting for P6 against Wolf. Wolf at the moment in this race has done brilliantly as well. Let's not ignore that. Usually, unfortunately, he finds himself probably at the back of the grid, but tonight has to be the night that he is on for it here today. Around the outside, could there be an opportunity to the left end? No, Lissandro does absolutely brilliant to eventually defend his position as Wolf slightly goes into the gravel. That might allow Planny to come back and get an overtake into the left end, and not just yet. Going up the hill now, Wolf will get an opportunity as well. He switches to the inside line. Who's going to be late on the brakes, heading towards the very tricky corner as Wolf outrun himself. He nearly has, indeed he has, as he's now going to be struck in the gravel. As we're just talking about the importance of getting that corner right, because if you can't quite do that, you're going to be in the gravel and off the track, just like Wolf was. And just about, we were talking about his performance. He's lost out a position as Lissandro is in P5 now, and he'll have to worry about it because Planny is right at the back of his rear wing, and anytime soon, or either heading towards turn 1. I don't think he's going to be close enough into turn 1 to be making a move, but another opportunity as soon as it arrives. Planny's going to be through, and he might just be through about right now as Lissandro runs a little bit wide. That would allow Planny to come back at him, and they're both going to be side by side, wheel to wheel action between the two. Planny's round the outside. He might dip a tire in the gravel, and he will. They nearly make contact, and they do make contact, but Lissandro, absolutely brilliant car control, stays there and holds his car. That has to be absolutely brilliant wheel-to-wheel racing, and Lissandro is doing an excellent job so far, considering he's only a reserve driver and fleeing in for the first time around here in race 1. So that is somewhat great racing between the two, as Planny now will get another opportunity. He just backs out of it in time. He's just seen another car go to the gravel, but about now is going to be the opportunity on the exit of the downhill. It's going to be another time for Plenty to get through, and he will get through about now. Lissandro, for a moment, they would have thought to get through, but he can't quite get through. Plenty gets his tyre in the gravel. Meanwhile, GT is in P7 at the moment, so about now could be a chance for him as well. So look at this. GT in P6. So these guys haven't pitted at the moment. GT, Lissandro, Plenty, Ned along with Smoking Kane. Kane is having a blast of a race. Monte Carlos is just doing some burnout maybe here, as he'll need to get out of the way of our leader, who's just lapped them about now. Page in P13, Nitu in P12. RLD is going to get past C. Jones. So no, in fact, RLD is going to be having a fight against the car that's just coming out of the pit lane about right now, and he will just be able to do that enough. And the undercut from RLD has worked out to secure them a position about right now. And C. Jones at the moment in P9 might be fighting against Ryan Cooper, who is in P8 at the moment, with Wolf in P7. He's maintaining those positions though. He's lost out to Lissandro, Plenty, and look at that, GT is past Lissandro. I wonder if Lissandro has made a mistake any part of the track, as both of them are now absolutely closer to each other, the two, GT and Plenty. Plenty's going to get his tyre into the gravel once more, and GT's going to go around the outside, and an opportunity keeps arriving for him, as it is going to be there. Meanwhile, Plenty is going to get towards the pit lane and get to the end of racing. Not to the end of racing, but rather end of his old tyres, to try and get brand new tyres on his car. So possible best thing is going to be a set of soft compound tyres from the set of mediums. So brand new, softer, better compound tyre towards the end of the race. And nice little livery, but I wonder if this is loaded or not. Unfortunately, in the replays, the liveries sometimes do not load for a couple of cars. This is an excellent Rockstar energy drink for CJ. This is a brilliant livery actually. And one thing with oh, look at that, there's in fact going to be a bit of a fight between the two teammates, as we just talked about some other things, and that's going to be Ryan Cooper, who gets past Wolf, and brilliantly done. Since Wolf's up, might have I don't think he's pitted just yet, so he's already on very old tyres. So yeah, basically I was talking about the reflection. This kind of a livery on C. Jones' car, golden colour, any kind of a shining colour, if sun gets onto it, it absolutely reflects and becomes a very huge distraction for the car behind. Which is interesting. So at the moment, Smoke is in P8 about right now, and in fact that's Smoke. I was thinking about, okay, it's a car of Plenty, but it is not him about now, and Kane is in the pit lane as well. Will Ryan Cooper be able to get ahead of Kane or not? Because this could be interesting. Will Ryan Cooper exit? Will Kane exit out ahead of Ryan? Yes, he will. Absolutely brilliant from Kane. His dominance on that first stint has rolled out, helps him exit out of the pit lane on brand new tyres in P1 as well. Smoke in P3 as Nimtinet finds himself in P5 along with Nito in P6, RLD in P7 as now Plenty comes in P8, and GT is going to be right behind him, who's on the pit exit. Plenty's going to be there, and Plenty nearly dips his tyres in the gravel as well. The pressure is on him as well. Definitely that stands out, that he is absolutely pushing and giving it everything for the position that he wants. And at least one thing he would want to make sure, at least, that he finishes ahead of one man, and that man is GT. He would rather not care about anything in this race right now, because he knows his competitive, his nearest competitor has to be GT in this race so far. So he wants to make sure that he just about does enough to finish ahead of him. I think he'll just be feeling much better about right now, is both on a set of soft compound tyres now, and already does a very fast exit. Meanwhile, there's a bit of sliding of tyres. I would have thought maybe that's going to be GT, or in fact that might just have been RLD, because a very slowing down, slow going car. Bay, and RLD once more is going to be heading towards the wall, and his car might just about be damaged. I'm not sure how accurate the damage indicator is, but with that, his right tyre, or maybe right suspension, could be a bit of damage as well. We don't see it on his steering though, in terms of how he's holding the steering inside the car, but we never know what exactly are they feeling, as our championship protagonists and our championship top two are still at it, are in it so far. Plenty, remember, qualified in P11, so he did not get any qualifying points at all. So remembering that, he's currently in P7, gets a bit of trip to the gravel once more, but basically that's what we are going to be in here for. So no points for definitely Plenty in qualifying, but even in the race, it is alright. So 6 points for P7. That's going to be 12 points overall, and 4 points for P8 would mean 8 points for GT at the moment. So still Plenty scoring 4 points plus than GT in terms of race points, minusing out the points that GT took in qualifying, of course. Qualified inside the top 10 and just got maybe a few points more than Plenty into this race, but all would be out there, as Nitu is in P5 at the moment, as he finds himself just ahead of Smoke, who's right behind Nitu, behind Nemtinet, who's currently in P4, fighting for P3. Can he get it though? Would be an interesting choice, as at the moment he finds himself in P4 for Netbox Racing. That is some nice results, as Ryan Cooper currently finds himself in P2, and 36 points there will be for our driver in P3 in the championship coming into this race. So lap 16 out of lap 19, and not a lot remains before we could get to the end. Remember, all of these drivers maybe not be fighting for their drivers' championship or the championship victory. They're still fighting for their respective positions, and on top of that, they're fighting for their teams, the Constructors' Championship, which is pretty tight between Project GT and the Highland Farmers, but still other positions are open. Other teams could challenge one or the other in terms of Netbook Racing and Light Racing. 91 points and 149 points between these drivers. Meanwhile, going back to our championship leaders, about right now could be interesting, but not much of a fight between these two at the moment. Lap 17 out of 19, GT in P8, Alessandro in P9, ahead of Wolf, who finds himself inside of the top 10 and point scoring positions. Just outside the top 10 at the moment are C. Jones, RLD, Monte Carlos and Cage, who have not been able to do much in this race so far, but remember, the fight still stays on. Going into the final race of the season will be a bigger, better and an amazing fun as well, because that would be interesting, getting to get the opportunity to fight for a championship, and all these drivers are going to be giving it everything in terms of the round. So that is going to be brilliant, into the final round as well. But this is not over yet. This is just not over yet. Lap 18 out of 19. Anytime soon, could there be an opportunity for GT to get past Plenty? Will there be enough pace and speed in Plenty's car to defend against GT, because going into the final race, sure, leading already is one thing, but knowing that you've scored more points, you know, in the previous race than the driver you're fighting for the championship is just enough confidence. It's enough for you to you know, pretty much not only fight for it, but also it's a confidence booster. You know, even if they would finish P1 and 2, and Plenty manages to finish P2 and GT finishes P1, always there's going to be that pressure, there's going to be that thought in the back of your mind that it could be in a bit of a risk if you do not perform enough. But now he has that mentality advantage over GT, at least at the moment though. I mean, tables could turn around. This is racing and this is sports. We see that every time maybe we think things are over, they are not yet, but both of them actually, which is, you would say fortunately or unfortunately, they have similar paces, maybe not as similar as fighting each other side by side, but they're only P7 and 8, so on a track that everybody's got to qualify on. It's interesting to see the leaders in P1 and 2. Meanwhile, focusing on our race leader, who has absolutely dominated. An epic performance from him, left, right and center. Oh, no one could challenge Kane. No one could come closer to him. No one could challenge Kane. Driving for Team Payne could be the job that he can do for his team, and indeed he is about to do it, as around Laguna Seca comes Kane. He's gonna be over the finish line and wins race 1 here at Laguna Seca. Takes victory and the checkered flag ahead of everyone, with Ryan Cooper as a brilliant race as well. He might have not fought for P1, but still in P2 is an absolute brilliant result, followed by Numpty Ned. Absolutely brilliant. Smoke gonna get an opportunity, gonna get P4 here on the edge of the final corner. He can't, but he's gonna get P5 as well, as Nitu, who's just going to finish up ahead of Planny in P7, P6 for Nitu, P8 for GT in the NML. He'll take it with Lissandro in P9. C. Jones in the final points scoring position, 2 points for him for double the points of these P10 position. P10 for him, P11 for Wolf in the end. He had a brilliant race eventually, but just not enough towards the end, as RLD is going to get P12. P13 for Monte Carlos, P14 for Page. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the end of race 1. It is going to be the end of Laguna Seca. Hope you all watching absolutely enjoyed it, because the championship is just not over yet, and it's still on and still up for grabs. It could be Plenty, it could be GT, or will it be Ryan Cooper? Let's not get him out of the equation as well. He's in P3. Remember, the double the points coming into these races, so that would rather be an absolute brilliant experience to end the final 2 races of a season on a way like this. So Kane takes victory. Kane wins with Ryan Cooper in P2, followed by Numpty Ned in P3. That was your podium. About Smoke in P4, P5, with Nitu in P6. Plenty in P7, followed by GT in P8. Then Lissandro and C. Jones, P9 and 10, completing out the top 10. And Wolf Club raced brilliantly throughout the race, I'd say, but just not enough in the end to score points. But this race, in terms, at least what I saw, has to be his most improved race throughout the season. P12 for RLD, he was looking good for the most part of the race, but might have just made a couple of mistakes, and unfortunately wasn't not enough for him to be in the points. Then Monte Carlos, who eventually was in P13. Page, the final driver, in P14. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the end of race 1. Remember, our race winner has got 50 points from their race victory here, along with the 8 points in qualifying. So that is about 58 points they would take from this race. this whole race and this whole session. 36 points for Ryan Cooper, double of 18 in this race. 34 numpty Ned, about 20 or rather we should say 20 points for Smoke. P5 and P12. P6, that's going to be 8 points, should be about 16. Then 6 points for Planny would be 12. 4 points for DT would be 8 in the end. 3 points for P9, I believe that is. Eventually will be rather, I wonder if, is it 3 points for P9 or is it 1 point for P9, which usually I believe it's only 1 point plus, so that's about 2 points for P9 position. But you're looking at this one here, it is 2 points indeed. It is not 3 points. It is 2 points for P9, so that's going to be 4 points for Lizandro, and I think for him filling in as reserve, that is a brilliant result. So that is once again, ladies and gentlemen, it was myself, Zabi, from all of us here at Apex Racing. We're getting to an end. This is going to be the end of race 1, but do not forget to watch race 2. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So click the bell icon so you could get the notifications of our races, and you could get the notification as soon as race 2 is live. All right, bye bye, adios.